What's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fans? This your boy JB, host of the Behind the Bench Podcast Network channel, giving a shout out to the rest of the crew: Shy, Kelvin, Jermaine, KB Film Room, Big Dog, Talk Sports. That's right, that's right. For everyone who's tuning in today, thank you for supporting Behind the Bench. Subscribe to the channel, help make this show the best that it can be. Well, we've got about a little over a month to go before the end of the regular season. This is the home stretch. Less than 20 games to go in the regular season. And it's a lot of good teams out there, man. A lot of good teams are starting to put together their best brand of basketball. Try to clinch that playoff spot. And I tell you, the team. Now, I got to give props to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They won 16 straight. 16 straight games. It's a hell of an accomplishment. And they do have a look of a championship team. And they're winning every way. Offensively, defensively, just consistency all across the board. Oklahoma City Thunder about to clinch number one seat in the Western Conference for the second straight year. They are the real deal. They are no fluke. And OKC going to be rolling for a very long time. And kudos to the way they built up the entire organization, after starting from scratch 4 or 5 seasons ago. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he should be the leading candidate for league MVP this year. Then you had the defending champion Boston Celtics. You cannot count them out until they are dethroned. The Denver Nuggets have the reigning 3-time league MVP Nikola Jokic, and they have a big shot maker in Jamal Murray. And they do have championship experience. Houston Rockets are starting to put together a nice winning streak. Got to give them kudos. Ja Morant looks like he's returning back to form. He's had some big scoring outbursts this week. The Milwaukee Bucks, as long as you have Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, you have a chance to do something. Golden State is on the roll. They're on the roll since acquiring Jimmy Butler via trade. This is probably their last go, their last run at the title. Both teams in LA, they trying to, hold serve for the most part. But the team that is standing out to me, now that they are healthy or in their full strength, the team that is standing out to me are the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, remember last year, they went to the conference finals, Western Conference Finals, and they lost to the Dallas Mavericks in 5 games. But throughout the course of the season last year, they boasted the top-ranked defense. And now their defense has started to emerge once again. And they have won 7 straight games. And they may have played their best basketball this week, going into Denver and beating them soundly, convincingly. And then last night's game at home versus the Orlando Magic. And Orlando Magic, they've had a difficult time this season due to key major injuries, probably to their top 2 players. Their record entering last night's game, I believe there was something like 30-36, something like that. It's not reflective as to who they are as a team. Because last year they went to the playoffs and lost a tough 7-game first-round series to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And that team has talent down there. And they took control of the game last night, particularly going into the second half, up into that third quarter. In that fourth quarter, Minnesota put it all together on both ends of the court. Everybody's starting to understand their role. Anthony Edwards is starting to play like he did last year. He was playing tremendous basketball last year, especially in that first round matchup versus the Phoenix Suns, where the Timberwolves swept Phoenix in 4 games. And Ant-Man was playing all NBA level basketball. And I believe what messed him up is when you had a guy, one of them talking heads, try to compare him to Michael Jordan during his 1988 MVP season, where Jordan led the league in scoring. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he led the league in steals, averaged over 3 steals a game, and Defense Player of the Year, All-Star Game MVP, Slam Dunk Champion, the whole nine. And they shouldn't have did that. They should have just let Anthony Edwards play his game. And this is what I'm talking about, comparing errors. I always try to make instant comparisons. They don't need to do that. Let Anthony Edwards grow under his, as well as all these players. Let them grow under their own rate, under their own metric. And it looks like he's returning back to form. Earlier this year, up until around, I'm going to say All-Star break, he was taking way too many 3-point shots. But now he's kind of cut that down to where he's taking about 7-8 threes a game. That's a good number for him. Because in the fourth quarter, you have to have some kind of reliable attack. You know what I'm saying? And if he were to develop like an 18-foot jumper, automatic jump shot, he's going to be unstoppable. And last night, he closed that game out. Everybody stepped up to the plate. Everybody. And what I like about this Timberwolves team, they have a solid 8-man rotation entering the postseason. Now, they do have to advance to the playoffs first, but they currently the 7th seed. But they beat Orlando last night by the score of 118-111, if I'm not mistaken. And the key to this whole resurgence, Anthony Edwards play. The return of Julius Randle in that lineup. And he's starting to put it all together, as the number 2 player on the team behind Ant-Man. And he scored like 22 points. He shot like 7 of 13 from the field. And he can facilitate, And I know when they made that trade between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the New York Knicks, trading Karl-Anthony Towns to New York, I was surprised by that move because they had just went to to tell you the truth, if the Knicks were healthy during the postseason, if Randall was able to play, they was missing multiple starters. If the Knicks had been healthy, they would have advanced to the conference finals last year, as well as Minnesota. So the trade, it threw a lot of people off guard. Karl-Anthony Towns, he was drafted by the Timberwolves like 10 seasons ago. And to trade a player like that's a major adjustment. But it looks like they starting to put it together. Everybody's starting to play their role. And then Rudy Gobert, he returned back to the lineup. And he has value on defense. Like, if he don't have to switch up top, if he can just defend that paint, well, Minnesota going to be tough to deal with. And he gave them a double-double last night, 12 points and 12 rebounds. Jaden McDaniels starting to up his play, the 3-and-D wing. And then you have a steady point guard general in Mike Conley. What I like about Minnesota, they had 3 guys come off their bench who can get double figures in any given situation. Nas Reed, I believe he was the 6th man of the year last year, if I'm not mistaken. Then Dante DiVincenzo, who along with Julius Randle were traded to Minnesota this season. Now he's back in the lineup. Now he finding his rhythm. Then you have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who can get, he played good, solid defense, can hit the 3, and he can attack. He can attack the glass. So this team, to me, even more so than the regular season, they're built for a postseason run. They're built for it because they have positional players. They have a true point guard in Conley. They have a true 2 guard and Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, who can bring the ball up the court himself. They got 3 playmakers out there now. They got Conley, Ant-Man, Randall. Randall doing his years with New York, he was averaging around 6 assists a game, so he could facilitate. And I think it's rounding that team up. They're getting the chemistry down pat, and with their defense, the way they played Denver this week, and the comeback last night. They were down almost like double figures, and they staged that rally and took control of that game, and they won it. They won it, and you could tell that victory last night, that everything clicked. You can kind of tell. And they've lost about 8 to 10 games this year that they should have won. But, the newfound change of the roster from Karl-Anthony Towns to Julius Randle, that's the thing where chemistry has to be established. And, Ant-Man, kind of trying to change his game up. All he needed to do was go back to the way he played last year. Conley was in and out of the lineup. Now he's healthy. Gobert's back. Everything is in sync. And I'm telling you, this is the team. If they get clicking, they're just as good as anybody in the Western Conference. And like I said, they got an Ant-Man. If he get going and play his game, he can average 30 points in the series, 28, 30 points in the series. And Randall can get you 22, 24 points when he on top of his game. So the Minnesota Timberwolves, this is a team that they can make a run, because the way you figure it, they went to the conference finals last year, right? So you figure, man, if Ant-Man can take his game to another level offensively, not necessarily points per game, but just where he can be a threat in any area of the court in the half-court set, and he close games, this team, they can mess around and come out of the West. This is the team I'm looking for. They've been under the radar because of their, inconsistent play early on, but it look like they finally putting it together. And this is the team I'm looking out for, the T-Wolves. But like I said, OKC, they're going to have the number 1 seed, so you're going to have to beat them. And then Denver, they had the championship experience. And it's going to be tough, but it's going to be exciting at the same time. So, again, the T-Wolves, 7 straight wins. And I believe they've won their last 11 games with Julius Randle in the lineup. And Julius Randle, remember now, he's second team all 2-time second team all NBA selection. He can play. He can facilitate, and he's tough. He's not going to back down from nobody. But great game last night by the T-Wolves against a quality Orlando Magic team who was tough in their own right. But I just want to drop that nugget. Leave your comments and thoughts. And until next time, this is JB for BTB, Behind the Bench.